If you've been shopping around for Star Wars toy lightsabers, you've probably come across lightsabers from both Hasbro and Rubie's Costume Co. So what's the difference between these lightsabers? Because in some cases, both companies make a similar model. So for example, both companies will make a Rey lightsaber or a Mace Windu lightsaber. So what's the difference? Well, let's get into that a little bit. So first of all, let's go with the main difference between the two companies. So Hasbro makes toys, okay? They make toy lightsabers. And Rubie's makes some things, like this looks like a toy, right? And, you know, people can kind of debate whether it is a toy or not, but from an official standpoint, Rubie's makes costume accessories, okay? So Rubie's does not technically make toys, although, you know, they do make lightsabers out of plastic, and I'm sure some people essentially end up using them as toys. You know, that's going to happen, but again, from a technical standpoint, Rubie's makes costume accessories. And why is this? Well, this is because Rubie's is a costume company, as their name suggests. So, you know, these accessories go along with costumes that Rubie's also makes. So if you have a Mace Windu lightsaber, they have a Mace Windu costume. If you have Darksaber, that'll go along with like a Mandalorian costume, etc. So one nice thing about that actually is some of the Rubie's lightsabers, you know, the plastic lightsabers, some of them will be for more obscure characters. Like there's a Plo Koon lightsaber, for example, that Rubie's makes, and that's because it could accessorize a Plo Koon costume. So that's really one of the main things that you're looking for with these Rubie's lightsabers. They are meant to kind of complement a costume that Rubie's also sells. And that also means that Rubie's makes just kind of character-inspired lightsabers. So they don't make original design lightsabers or kind of, you know, different novelty lightsabers or anything like that. It'll be based on something from Star Wars canon, like this Darksaber right here. And also, you know, the technology behind the lightsabers that Rubie's sells, some of them will not, you know, they'll just be a lightsaber, like a telescoping lightsaber, no electronics. If they do have electronics, they light up. So I don't think Rubie's has any lightsabers that make any sound. So that would be a difference as well. So basically the Rubie's lightsabers, they're a little bit more basic and they're meant to accessorize a specific Star Wars costume. Okay, now the Hasbro lightsabers, there's a much wider variety of Hasbro lightsaber toys out there. Here are two of them. So this is a Scream Saber. This just came out a few days ago actually by Hasbro. And then next to that is a Blade Builder's lightsaber that Hasbro's made as well. And one thing you might notice about both of these is, well, or neither of them is based on a Star Wars character hilt. So both of these are original designs. So the Scream Saber is just really a novelty lightsaber. It has this sort of R2-D2 look to it. And it plays like a lightsaber sound, like a scream sort of as a lightsaber sound. So I'm going to turn it on for a second. So there's that Chewbacca scream. And when I wave this around, you hear the Chewbacca sounds as well. And they have different sounds. And I could also... wait for that to end. I could also input my own custom sound into here and it would play it back as a lightsaber sound too. So, you know, that's another thing you'll see generally with these Hasbro lightsabers. There's more interaction. There's more play with them versus, you know, the Rubie's hilts. There's, you know, not quite as much that you can do with them. And there's just a much wider variety of lightsabers available from Hasbro, and they do a lot of different things. So they have some very basic character-inspired hilts. They also have these kind of novelty hilts, you know, like the Scream Saber. And the Blade Builders line, now that's very popular. That is comprised of some original designs like this, but there are also some character hilts that are part of the Blade Builders line where you can kind of mix and match different parts and create like a crazy custom lightsaber. So Hasbro basically has these different kind of lightsaber toy lines just within the Star Wars lightsaber realm. So there's lots of different things, or there's also like the Force Action lightsaber, for example, which is a spring-loaded lightsaber blade. There's lots of different things that Hasbro does. They're always looking for a different way, to innovate new toys and new play. So they're much bigger on that. They do have some hilts, some lightsabers that don't have any electronics. They also have lightsabers that do have electronics with them. And, they'll light up, they'll make sound, they'll have other types of interaction to them. So really the biggest points, you guys, Hasbro makes a much wider variety of lightsabers. And they also have lots of different features to them, and they, may or may not include electronics, but there's a lot more play to the Hasbro lightsabers. And Rubie's makes costume accessories. Now, sometimes people do use them to play, but they're not recommended for playing, and they're not really designed for it. So they're not necessarily quite as durable, for play as some of the Hasbro lightsabers. And that's most of what you guys need to know. Feel free to comment below. What do you think about the Hasbro lightsabers, and how would you compare them to the Rubie's lightsabers? I do know some of the Rubie's lightsabers have gotten kind of lower reviews, mostly because people will end up playing with them and something will break with them. At least that's what I've seen. But again, feel free to comment below.